Here at Davidson Audio, we strive to continue to develop products for the Indian motorcycles to make your job a lot easier if you're looking to install an aftermarket audio system of your own, or if you're going to go with one of our packages. So today we're going to be talking about our Davidson Audio passive fairing harness for the 2020 to 2024 Indian Challengers and Pursuits. One question we get asked frequently is, well, why don't you just use the OEM wiring for those enclosures, the fairing enclosures, which are located up here in the upper fairing? We used to back in the day, but the problem is as speakers develop and manufacturers continue to push the envelope, the speakers are wanting more and more and more power. We decided to develop a high quality speaker harness for the fairing enclosures. We actually have them for the entire bike, but this video is focused on the fairing enclosures to allow us to run higher power, or you could run a passive and active system, which we'll dive into a video all on that and on the active harness later as well. The focus of this is the passive harness. So this is going to be 2 runs of oxygen-free copper speaker wire, and this is pre-cut to length, loomed with braided expanded loom, shrink tubed, color coordinated. So you can see I got a white and a red black, and then you got a white and a gray here. So what this is going to show you is we did the white for the left side, red is the right side, white is the front left, and gray is the front right. Those 2 colors, white and gray, are standard car audio colored wires. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible to identify where the wiring goes and what it is for. So if you order just the harness on its own because you want to do all your own stuff, this is what it's going to look like. If you go with one of our pre-installed and tuned audio packages, depending on the speakers, this is actually what you're going to get right here. So this one is for our go-to audio package for the fairing, which is our Cicada Audio CH speakers. Let's start at the amplifier end. At the amplifier end, we're going to use insulated wire ferrules that are color coordinated, red and black. The red is positive, black is ground or negative. Same harness, pre-loomed and everything, but where the biggest difference is 1, the wire ferrules, and 2, the crossovers. So for the Cicada CH series, they have a compression horn and they utilize this crossover. So what we do is we take the time to solder in the crossover into our harness, and we also solder in the resistor here, which is a tweeter attenuator. It helps us bring them down just a little bit, and then we continue fine-tuning it from there. And it's all interior Tessa-taped, nice and neat, clean. And then you leave you with your 2 ends here for your speaker itself. That way you can, once you get done modifying your enclosures, you can clean it off, use the double-sided tape we have here, stick it to the bottom of the enclosure, hook up your speaker, route this wire to your amplifier, and you're done. What we're going to do now is show you installing these on the bike with hooking the speaker up to it and then routing it to your aftermarket amplifier, which this bike, we already have our aftermarket amplifier right here underneath the fairing, which hooking that up, you can go check out our video of the single amp install video that we did. That'll show you hooking it up. What we'll do is we'll show you installing them and routing the wires down to here. That way you have a better understanding of how you're going to route your passive fairing. All right, so the first part of this is going to be a little bit of acetone. We use acetone. You can use like alcohol wipe, and we just take a little bit right here at the bottom of the enclosure. We just wipe it off. And what this is going to do, you're going to notice that this is going to stick to the plastic a little bit. That's because it's melting the plastic just a little bit. Don't get too hung up on the word melting. And that's going to make sure that we get the best adhesion for our double-sided tape. You're going to take your pre-set up crossover and everything. You're going to take your double-sided tape off. The side that has the wire ferrules on it, you're going to fish up through the back side here. You can see it from the top. And for right now, don't worry about sticking them anywhere in particular. But take the crossover. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but we're going to stick it all the way to the back of the enclosure, and I like to angle it. You're going to stick it right on in there.
So that way when we go to load the speaker, one, we have enough to make the connections, but this is going to sit back like that. And then right here, you're going to take your grommet, you're going to feed your wires through it, just like this. And then you're just going to, what I like to do is, I've got our Olfa knives with the blade in. You can help push that grommet in. You just want to make sure it's fully seated. And like I said, once those slits that you cut in there, it's going to wrap itself right back around the wire. And then this is going to get routed all the way to your amplifier. Biggest thing is just make sure you have a little bit of slack here. You don't want to guitar string tight, and get it up out of the way. So this system is completely installed. What I wanted to do was go ahead and show you the passive fairing harness with it installed. So we're on the brake side, which is the right side, so you'll have your red harness. And as you saw before, we had already removed the grommet and the OEM wiring. The OEM wiring went down in here, and we routed our wire right along this harness, zip tied it all up nice and neat, and it goes down into the middle of the neck of the bike. And then you bring it over and terminate it nice and neat right there. And then the clutch side, bring it up out of the grommet, follow this OEM harness down all the way around, zip tying it nice and neat, same down the center, and terminated here as well, nice and tucked up out of the way, clean and serviceable. So that's it for routing that.
Well, that's how you're going to install our passive fairing harness in the 2020 to 2024 Indian Challengers and Pursuits. Again, we wanted to take the time to develop a high quality product. That is why I started the business. We saw a lot of corners that were cut and a lot of customers that got taken advantage of in this industry. It's not just motorcycle audio, it's car audio as well. So we wanted to take the time to really spend the time and develop harnesses that work, that fit, and that they look nice and clean with high quality material. So there's not much much more to talk about when it comes to this passive harness. I just wanted to take the time to show you the difference between, our harness, if you order just a harness, or pre-installed and tuned, how it looks, how it goes in the bike, to help you all make the decision on what harness you need for the bike, or if you have further questions, that these videos help you answer those questions. So that being said, I'm going to wrap up with this video. I'm Brandon with Davidson Audio, located here in beautiful Panama City, Florida.